Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amir bin Anwar. So now I will to present my court cases, which is an international context, criminal prosecutions in Gulf of Mexico. The summary of the cases is we held on 23rd February on 2017, and the World Group of Peasant was ordered to pay $7 million for falsely reporting over several years ago that personnel had been performed between the safety inspections on facilities in the Gulf of Mexico and the $1.8 million for negligently discharging oil into the Gulf of Mexico Sea, both in violation of the Clean Water Act. Wood Group also was ordered to pay $700,000 in the community service to projects in the areas where the offence conduct took place. The detail of the court cases on the environment crime, which is a fiscal year on 2017, which is on the February. The principal defendant is Wood Group Production Services Network, and the defendant Wood Group PSN. And the date is Thursday, 23rd February on 2017. And the date is 18 USC 1001 33 USC 1319C and 1A. The statute is the Clean Water Act (CWA) and the title is 18 U.S. Criminal Code Title 18. The causes that happened this issue is first, they reported falsely indicated that the facilities had been properly inspected and maintained according to federal safety and environmental regulations. Second, the company of the operators at their Cameron office had trouble keeping up with the inspections and the maintenance on the facilities they serviced, which is they are not serviced, they're not taken serious enough about taking services. And third, the the office did not have a sufficient labor and transportation, and the work was not always completed on time. This is caused where they are not having a sufficient amount of transportation, which is they need some. And the last one is stop issuing hot work permits and conducting all hands safety meetings, and instead delegated the hard work permitting to a less experienced operator, which is they're not having a good experienced operator that can handle the hard work properly. The impact of this issue, firstly, the hydrocarbon vapors that come out from that ship had been escaped from the wet oil tank ignited. Second, one of the dry oil tanks and wet oil tank were blown away into the Gulf of Mexico. And the third one, the oil spilled from the ship into the Gulf of Mexico, causing a sheen on the water. Oil rained down to the lower deck of the platform where the workers had been performing other construction activity. And the last one, the fire and explosions that occurred resulted in the deaths of construction workers. There are about four people who died in this incident, and the other workers were seriously burned and physically injured. Lastly, the penalty and fine from the court. First one, the World Group PSN was ordered to pay $7 million for falsely reporting over several years that the personnel have been performed safety inspection on the offshore facilities in the Gulf of Mexico, the Western District of Louisiana. Secondly, the $1.8 million for negligently discharging oil into the Gulf of Mexico in violating of the Clean Water Act (CWA) after an explosion on an offshore facility in the Eastern District of Louisiana. And the last one, the World Group PSN was also ordered to pay $700,000 in community services to pay projects in the areas where the criminal conduct took place.
Hello and Assalamualaikum to my lecturer. For today's video, I'm going to explain about the water pollution in Sungai Gong in Malaysia context. My name is Titi Hansa binti Norizan with matrix number 2021-100955. As for the case information, the factory believed to be the cause of the Sungai Gong pollution has reportedly been operating without any license since 2014. This is based on data by the Selayang Municipal Council, MPS. According to MPS Corporate Department Director Muhammad Zain Masoad, the company had not made any application for a license or permission to operate since 2014, even though the local authority had advised the factory twice to apply for a license after it was found operating without proper documentation for the past 6 years. 4 siblings who are also members of the board of directors and a factory manager pleaded not guilty for causing the river pollution of Sungai Gong in Rawang on 3rd September, which disrupted the water supply of 1.2 million residents in Klang Valley. The charge were read to them by court interpreter before Judge Shafira Muhammad Said at the Selayang Sessions Court in Gombak today. The 4 siblings, Yip Kok Y 52, Yip Kok Moon 58, Yip Kok Queen 50, Yip Kok Wang 60, and the factory manager Ho Vun Leong 59 claimed trial to the charge. The 5 accused were jointly charged with committing mischief by causing hazardous waste from the workshop to flow into Sungai Gong in 2nd and 3rd September 2020 at the premise Yip Chiseng and Sons Sendirian Berhad at Lot 421 Jalan Batu Arang, Kampung Sungai Dua, Rawang. The accused knew that their actions would cause a diminution of water supply for human consumption. For the penalty and fines, they are charged for the case under Section 430 of the Penal Code Act 574, read together with Section 34 of the Penal Code and punishable under provision in Section 430 of the Penal Code. They also could be imprisoned for not less than 5 years or not more than 30 years of fine or both. On the second count of charge, they are charged with emitting environmentally hazardous substances from the workshop into the waterway, which then flow into Sungai Gong without license at the same place and the same time. The charge were made under Section 25 of the Environmental Quality Act 1974 Act 127, read together with Section 34 of the Penal Code, which is punishable under Section 25 of the Environmental Quality Act, which provide a maximum fine of 100,000 ringgit Malaysia or imprisonment for up to 5 years or both if found guilty. And they were also not allowed bail, and the court said 27 October for the mention of the case. And I'm going to add up some case info for these cases, which is there is not once but twice. The factory which released the contaminants into Sungai Gong, which then caused a massive water cut in the Klang Valley, is a repeat offender. About 6 months after the first offense, the same factory was found to be the culprit behind the pollution. The first time was in March during the first phase of the Movement Control Order MCO. The Department of Environment DOE compounded the factory 60,000 ringgit Malaysia. Selangor Environment, Green Technology, Science, Technology and Innovation and Consumer Affairs Committee Chairman He Loy Sian said yesterday. He said based on the investigation by the Selangor Water Management Authority (LUAS), DOE and Pengurusan Air Selangor Sendirian Berhad, it was found that the factory in Rawang, which repairs and maintains heavy machinery, was the source of the odor and water pollution in Sungai Selangor. The effect from all this happened is this pollution caused unscheduled water disruption to 1,292 areas in Kuala Lumpur, Petaling, Klang, Shah Alam, Kuala Lumpur, Kuala Selangor, Hulu Selangor, Gombak and Kuala Langat. Another case's chronology of Sungai Gong polluted again, this time by sewage discharge. A chlorine discharge believed to be the cause behind Sungai Gong inky water, the Selangor Water Management Authority Luas said. Luas also said a probe into the river's water quality also found foaming effluents from sewage treatment plants of Indah Water Consortium IWK GBK 134 Area 5 at the Rawang Industrial Area. And in situ sampling at the area found ammonia at 5.2 mg per liter and TSS total suspended solid at 47 mg per liter. Luas said IWK had since halted both water flow from the incoming pump and the discharge of effluents. Then the initial investigation at the Gombak Irrigation and Drainage Department (DID) flood detention pond inlet found no odor emanating from the water. Luas then activated Code Yellow to halt operation in the main water treatment plants located at the downstream of Sungai Selangor. Luas also held a joint investigation with AIS Selangor at the river monitoring station in Rawang Country Homes but found no oil stains or odor, despite the water's inky color. And last, Luas has confirmed that water treatment plants are in operation and no water disruption has occurred due to the incident and said that it would continue monitoring the situation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Faris Fahmi bin Muhammad Wazir, and for the next local cases, I will be presenting water pollution in Sungai Kim Kim. This is the case information. The three directors of the used tire processing company, Wang Jingchao, 34 years old, Yap Lok Liang, 36 years old, and Sim Wei Der, 50 years old, were charged with conspiring with Maridas to dispose of the scheduled items into Kim Kim River using the vehicle. The Court of Session in Johor Bahru was told that the waste generated from a tire processing plant linked to the pollution incident of Sungai Kim Kim in Pasir Gudang on 7th March was a scheduled waste of the SW311 type oil sludge. The first method is to look at the analysis report given by the Department of Chemistry and then look at the chemical characteristics contained in the waste, as well as look at the process of how the waste is produced. From the observation process, DOE will compare the findings with 77 codes of scheduled waste set out under Schedule 1 of the Environmental Quality Scheduled Waste Regulation 2005. The chemical properties found in the Department Chemistry's chemical analysis report, it contains the chemical properties of xylene, toluene, and ethylbenzene that lead to oils other than the chemical properties of the limonene. Next is the case dialogue between the defense attorneys G. Subramaniam Nair, who represented the company's directors, Wang Jingchao and Yap Lok Liang, two of the four accused in the case. Azlan said he had never physically seen the chemical. The truck driver of used tire processing company and Maridas, 35 years old, was charged with disposing of scheduled waste, for example, oil waste or oily sludge into Sungai Kim Kim, Pasir Gudang, using a truck and semi-trailer of a pump tank, without the approval of the Director General of Environmental Quality. Next, we move to the case charged. Maridas is charged under Section 34B 1A of the Environmental Quality Act 1974, which is punishable under Section 34B4 of the same Act, which provides for a maximum prison sentence of 5 years, in addition to a fine of 500,000 ringgit Malaysia if convicted. Next, Jing Chao, Lok Liang, and Wei Der were charged under Section 34B A of the Environmental Quality Act 1974 read together with Section 42 of the same Act, which is punishable under Section 34B 3 of the same Act, which is to imprisonment for not more than 5 years and a fine not exceeding 500,000 ringgit Malaysia. In addition, Jing Chiao, Lok Liang, and Wei De were also charged with 15 more charges under Regulation 3.1 Environmental Quality Scheduled Waste Regulation 2005, Environmental Quality Act 1974, Act 127, and Environmental Quality Clean Air Regulation 2014, the same Act. The prosecution was handled by Muhammad Shafi and TPR JAS Putrajaya Nur Azura Jumuddin, while Maridas was presented by lawyer S. Ratakrishna and Wader was represented by lawyer Joshua Tay. And lastly, this is the Environmental Quality Act 1974, which is charged to the 4 accused in this case. The first one is control of scheduled waste, section 34B, prohibition against placing deposit, etc. of scheduled waste. Next, 1A. No person shall place, deposit, or dispose of, or cause or permit to place, deposit, or dispose of, except at prescribed premises only, any scheduled waste on land or into Malaysian waters. And lastly is miscellaneous. Section 42, which is attempts and abatements. And this is our reference for our slide presentation. That's all from us. Thank you very much.